So in part one of the Twin Vee boat install, you saw us working on the console. We transformed that from a pure blank console to having both the GPSMAP units in there, plus the VHF. Now we're going to take that inside of that console, convert it from a porta potty area over and add all the wiring and everything to make everything connected and work properly. So in this video, that's what we're going to show you. There's the mounting location for the Livescope module, and this wire here coming off of it, that's the water ground, or the what I call bonding wire. So that's going in there. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take this panel right here, I don't know if you can see it, put the weld mounts on there, which on one side you'll have the bolts, the other side you have that flat. Now I'm going to epoxy it on the side there where you see those blue tapes mark and the marks there. So that's where that's going to go. Okay, so here we are. I put the epoxy on the back of the weld mounts. I taped the board in place. If you look carefully there, you'll see at the very bottom, once we pan down to it, I've actually put another piece of HPDE down there. And what that did is that let me rest the new board on top of that. You can see the black one right there. It's a piece of 3/4 inch. That was the temporary location for the initial piece for the network hub. This is the back of those units there. This is the mounted Livescope module. There, I'm looking over there trying to figure out where to put everything. So this is what a weld mount looks like after you've done the epoxy. So I pulled the board off of there. I actually oversized the holes a little bit so I could easily pull it back off. But what I'm doing now is I'm checking to make sure each one of those weld mounts has good adhesion, good epoxy basically pushed out from the edges. That way I know that panel is not going to fall off the wall. So that's what we got there. All right, here's a control board. I've got a 12-position fuse block here, and this is for all the electronics, including the radar, VHF. So I went with a 12 because we'll keep adding stuff to it. We've got actually have a radio system. We've got a VHF radio. Got all sorts of stuff that goes into this thing. This is our on-off switch, which will go to the ionic lithium battery, which as soon as it gets here at the house, we'll get it hooked up, and I'll show you what that looks like. This is a 50 amp breaker. I went with a 50. I normally do a 30 on my electronics, but in this case, because we had the radar, had the VHF, had a lot of loads on this thing, I went ahead and went with a 50 amp breaker on that. So this is the initial piece for the board itself, and this side here is for the trolling motor. This is the one wire that goes to the battery, on-off switch, and then a 60 amp breaker. It's a Minn Kota. It's a saltwater version, 72-inch shaft. It's huge. So, all right, and I'll show you the rest of that when I get all done. Okay, I've mounted up everything I could on the control board, and you can see it now. It's placed up on the wall. I've tightened the nuts down, which are 1/4 inch studs. So you can see the layout there. I've put in what wires I could. Already connected the NEMA bus for the audio system, but put the power in there. So now we're going through, and you look above there, you can see I used a wire mesh, basically to put all my wiring inside of. I left the green bonding wire. That green wire is the one that connects to the boat ground. That one is separate from it. That way, if you ever need to take it off, you can simply just disconnect that from the zip tie area. It's pretty easy to pull. Well, here is the wiring area all done. It still looks a little bit of like a cluster there for the power, but that's as neat as I can get it right now. Down here, this is the switch for the electronics. This is the wire that's going to go to the lithium battery. This is the negative for that. This is the fuse block, the breaker. We've got the Garmin module right here. The fusion is here. Okay, this is the switch and the breaker for the trolling motor, and this is the trolling motor battery. Yeah, it's huge. It's a 36 volt 100 amp battery. This is the charger right here for the lithium, the trolling motor battery. I will be putting the other one in here as well. So as we rotate around here, you can see we got all the cables round up in circles to minimize cable problem issues. And then as we work our way up, we've got the two Garmin 12-inch units up here. Probably not that easy to see from that angle. Ow. There you go. Sorry, bumped my head in this little tight area. So that's the Garmin's ready to go. Back here, this is the VHF radio. This is the cabling for miscellaneous stuff, basically the Livescope. The Livescope module's here. We've got the Livescope cable going out this hole as well. This green wire is our bonding wire, which attaches to the boat ground. Still have to hook that up, so that's one next thing I have to do. So basically there's a couple things that have to be done in here. One, I have to put the bonding wire ground bus right here. Okay, so that's going to go in here. These are the bonding wires. They get attached to it, so I've got to cut those and terminate them. Okay, and then I'm going to be putting the electronics battery right here, and I'm going to try to put the charger right here on the floor. There's no other place to put it, unfortunately. Fortunately, it's a waterproof charger. So anyway, we're getting there. There's the bonding block for the ground, so you can see where it goes over, say, the Livescope module. It also goes up to the 2 units and the VHF radio. The only thing I have to do now is clean up the wires, tie wrap a little bit and put the cover on it. All done. That's the bonding block with the cover on. So, here's the fuse block for all the electronics. I've got all the breakers in there. You can see they're all labeled, except the only one is that kind of pinkish one, which is a 3 amp. That one actually came with the NEMA, so I just pulled out the NEMA power cord. So I've got the LiveScanner, I've got a GPS antenna, I've got the VHF radio, I've got the ignition for the fusion box. I got the fusion, which is a 15 amp. I've got a 7.5 for the radar, Ethernet, NEMA, lower unit, or left unit, right unit, and the Livescope box. And then I got one spare. Which funny thing is that I originally thought I only needed a 6-position block. Apparently, I was really wrong on that one. So it looks like a mess, doesn't it? Yeah. So anyway, and I just put dielectric grease on the tops of the screws there. Hopefully that'll keep the corrosion off. Because again, this is a saltwater boat, so that's what it's going to look like to the customer. Now the neat thing is there's little itty bitty LEDs. I don't know if you can see those in there. Yeah, there's some right there. Those LEDs will light up if there's a blown fuse. Now, with the Garmin, you got the separate fuse blocks, so there's the fuses in addition to the fuses I put here. So hopefully, if it's got a problem, one of those will blow. Got the battery ready to go. The tray is screwed in the floor. The charger's in position. I've run the power cords over to the back there where they plug in. So I'm just about to lift it up, put it in the tray, strap it down, and I can start terminating the 2 power leads for the electronics, and then I can hook up the charger, and that'll be it for this box. Well, everything's up and running. I got the ionic in place. The only thing I have to do is connect the charger to the house batteries, or the main boat batteries, but everything's up and running. You can see the network lights are flashing like crazy. GLS 10 box. The only thing I have a problem with right now, it's not picking the fusion box, so I got to figure that out. I mean, that's coming off the NEMA bus, so I just got to go and track that down, figure out what the problem is. But the VHF shows up, everything shows up, including the radar on the roof. The only thing I haven't done is pick a GPS satellite image, or satellites yet, and that's mainly because we're in a metal building, so it's looking good, getting really close. Well, we're now running all the software updates. You can see we've got the radios being updated right now. We're going to do the console left and the console right, and the Livescope and radar. What I did is I also named all these units so I know what everything is. So, all right. Oh boy. There we go. That's pretty cool. The radar's spinning in the garage here. You can actually see the layout of the garage, which is kind of cool. So, okay, we're all done with the boat here, pretty much. Although I got one diagnostic to do. The fusion box doesn't come on, so we're climbing up into the back of the boat here. Still got a few of my things to put away. Everything else is put away. So he made these bait cutters, which is kind of cool. So on the console here, got the Garmin unit that's with the cover on it. This is the bulkhead, the Garmin right here. this is going to get put in for this Livescope transducer. If you notice, this is the XR one, which is I think a 62. You notice that looks normal until you put your hand next to it. You see how much bigger that sucker is. I mean, it's huge. It's also got an extra transducer on the end here. So again, this is a saltwater boat. Glad I checked that. I left my update chip right here, which is this chip. I did do all the updates on the units. These are the two console units here. Okay, I'm gonna leave these off right now because I gotta, like I said, I gotta crawl underneath. We've got the kind of the little area above there. That white cable up there is the VHF antenna that we got he's gonna clean up a little bit. This plug on the side is a NOCO charger. That's pretty handy. That's what we used. It goes in, has two plugs on the back, so I can plug in both the lithium charger and also the main charger, which is the Minn Kota. So here we are in the console area. So this is where everything happens. So go in here, we've got the charger rolling. Probably can't see much in there. I don't have my lights with me handy right now. I'll have to splice in some other stuff, but right now we got the lithium is charged, the port battery is charged, and the center battery is not charged. It's either got an issue, so he's going to replace those batteries at some point. So that's all that piece up there. We've also got the Riptide Terrova, which is a little bit bigger than our normal bass boat stuff. This is an 80-inch one. There's the antenna. Still have to do a little bit there. Has a removable plug. There's a removable base. So everything can be pulled off at some point. So let me get up here. Do this without killing myself. Oh. Okay. So here's our Garmin up here, which is the radar dome. It's kind of cool when you turn the units on it. It's not spun up, and then you take and spin it up. So if you look further back there, you can see the VHF antenna laying down. There's also another piece laying down. That's your anchor light. On this side, in the very, very back there, I think I got some other video, that is where the GPS antenna is. So everything's about as far away from this radar dome as we could make it. So anyway, so it's a real quick walkthrough. I've already shown you the transducer in the back, so